educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Health and Wellness Monday, and our topic for today is the lingering scars of survival. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive F5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Rizal and I talked about signs they are wasting your time. Head on over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "Our scars tell a story. They remind us of a time when life tried to break us, but failed." The National Breast Cancer Coalition will be having their 2025 Advocate Leadership Summit coming up May 3rd through the 5th. And on May 6th, they will be on Capitol Hill for Lobby Day. And this summit is for advocates to help prepare you for a meaningful seat at the table where breast cancer decisions are being made. Advocates will come away feeling invigorated and inspired to fight to end this disease. You can go to stopbreastcancer.org for more information about the summit. The National Breast Cancer Coalition is also having their Project Lead coming up July 27th through August the 1st. The location would be in La Jolla, California. And there is no registration fee, no tuition. All course materials and contents and meals are provided by the National Breast Cancer Coalition. I just need you to go and register. Scholarships are available, but they are limited. They want you to take care of your own travel. But again, you can apply for the scholarship. The deadline for registration is April 25th. So if you are a breast cancer advocate and you want to take your advocacy to the next level, you want to learn about the science of breast cancer, then you want to go to Project Lead. Go to stopbreastcancer.org for more information. We are so grateful for our sponsor on today. We have Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emmanuel Kojic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
If you are tuned in on any form of social media, like the show, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. Our topic today is the lingering scars of survival. For many of us who have went through a breast cancer diagnosis, we know that there is a residue that cancer leaves behind. The cancer journey has touched our lives, our bodies, our emotions, and even our faith. But what happens when treatment ends? The scars, both seen and unseen, remains long after we have rang the bell. So let's explore the lingering effects of cancer and it has on our lives as we try to turn those scars into a strength of resilience. So the first one we're going to talk about as it relates to the lingering effects is the physical effects that it has on your body, the physical scars. And the physical scars are things that, you can see with the hair loss. Hey, Lisa, that you can see with your hair loss, which is normally the first thing that when we see somebody who may be bald head, oh, they must be going through cancer treatment. No, they may have alopecia and just don't have any hair. Like they may have chose to shave their head bald. But that's one of the symbols is when you see someone that don't have any hair and they're looking kind of thin and sickly. just like the commercials that come on TV when they're talking about some type of cancer treatment or anything to do with cancer, you always see somebody with a bald head that's real frail, that looks really skinny. So that's one of the physical things that can happen as it relates to cancer. Your skin can also turn dark from the chemo treatment. I often talk about your fingernails turning dark, or even falling off and not having any fingernails, and it can happen with your toenails as well. If you're doing radiation, that radiation to your skin is going to burn that skin. So wherever that radiation is, that side of your body is going to remain dark, right? It's probably never going to come back to its original shade. Some people use different creams and stuff that may help their skin to heal, but there's residue left from the radiation treatment. There's damage left from the chemo treatment, and we all know that there's scars that come with surgery, whether you get a lumpectomy, a mastectomy, or you using your own fat from your body. They have to take it from your body. Wherever they taking it from, you're gonna have scars left there. And not to mention the trauma of having to see yourself with these scars, the ones that you can actually see. As my doctor would tell me, oh, it's just cosmetics, it'll go away, or it'll grow back, So don't be too concerned with the physical, like those things change. Even with like my weight, I got all the way down to like 140 and all the way up to 175 during my cancer treatment. So sometimes your weight can be up and down. Sometimes your self-esteem can be up and down because of the way that you look physically. And every time you may run into somebody that maybe you hadn't seen in a long time, and you are done with treatment and they see you and they're like, oh, hey, oh, you look like you lost a lot of weight. You okay? Like you losing weight. And you just like, child, if you only knew what I just been through. Like I went through the fight of my life. So if I lost a couple of pounds, then so be it. Like, so sometimes you have to build your own self up, because sometimes people don't know what to say and how to say it. Sometimes they just say the first thing that comes out of their mouth, and sometimes they think it's helpful, and it don't be helpful. So those scars that you can see, I would say embrace the scars. Don't try to hide them. Some people avoid looking in the mirror at them because they don't want to see and have that feeling behind. Like it reminds them of the time they got their breast cut off, the time, one of their breasts is uneven because they got a lumpectomy. Like different, even if you have lymphedema and you have, because you had lymph nodes removed from one of your arms. So now you have a bigger arm and a smaller arm. Even when you go shopping, you gotta be conscious of the clothing that you buy, because it has to be able to fit that arm, right? And you can't wear anything tight on that arm. And even if you get the neuropathy, sometimes you could be driving, sometimes you could be doing something fun, and then all of a sudden you get this. For me, I think it's like arthritis, and it just stops you dead in your track. Then you can't move, you can't do anything, and you have to wait for that to pass. So there's so many physical things that individuals deal with depending on the type of cancer that you have. I mean, breast cancer is one thing. You have a different type of cancer. It could be lung cancer, it could be thyroid cancer. They each may leave some type of scar that the person may be reminded of. One scar that I know a lot of us have is this, that receive chemo, is that port scar. The scar that they put inside of your body with a tube, so that whenever you have chemo, instead of going through your veins, they will go through there because it's easier, less traumatic on your veins. But you have this port scar now that's permanently on you. Some people cover it up with tattoos, and some people just leave it there. And it's a constant reminder that, yeah, I once had to have this poison like shot in my body through this scar. And I was kind of nervous because they put it right by the heart. I'm like, what if this gets, what if some chemo spills out a little bit? It's in my body anyway. But, just having to go through that's one surgery you go through. Yeah, it's an outpatient surgery, but it's still a surgery. It's still a surgery. They still have to cut you, place something foreign in your body, and it stays there for the whole time that you're in treatment. And I think most people ports stay in at least a year after treatment, and they leave it in just in case cancer comes back and you have to go right back into treatment, and they don't have to do that surgery all over again. And the one thing I like about the breast cancer community is they have a day of beauty for women who may be losing their hair, their eyebrows, their eyelashes. They will actually, some organizations donate makeup. And so you come to this class and each survivor will get a bag of makeup, right? And it don't be the cheap makeup. And someone would be there teaching you how to draw your eyebrows on, how to do your makeup so that people can't tell you don't have eyebrows or eyelashes. Like they show you how to cover up those scars, because they're scars too. They're visual, and they take the time to make you feel kind of whole again. So little things like that you can do to build up your self-esteem, to not eliminate the scars or erase the scars, but just kind of tone them down in the background if they're not going anywhere. So the physical scars can be very devastating to someone that's going through cancer, especially if you looked a certain way before you went through it. Some people may have, what's the measurements they say, 36, 28, 36, whatever those measurements are. Some people may have figured like they was a brick house, and then all of a sudden you get hit with cancer and you looking like a 10-year-old boy because you done lost all this weight, lost your hair. So you have to really take the time to embrace your scars yourself and know that it's a process that you have to go through. It's a storm and you have to go through, and storms don't last. They don't last always. Eventually that storm is going to have to end and the sun is going to have to come out. So if you have physical scars, I would say embrace the scars. Know that, they're there for a reason. Lisa says, yes, Lisa, absolutely. You have to remind yourself of your beauty and your strength. You have to constantly, when I was going through, I swear, I had to constantly remind myself, like, I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, who is that? Like, who is that? Like, when you was little, you may have had a bald head, no hair, but you never seen yourself with no hair. So it's like, who is that? You have to embrace yourself in all phases of life. Just love on yourself and embrace yourself. Devon says, check out Dr. Is it Yaki at Natural Healing Connection. He followed Dr. Sabi. Yeah, there are so many different natural healing paths that you could go on. And I say, if you find one and it works for you, then do it. Do it. The less narcotics, medication that you can put in your body, the better. The natural, the better. Like always I would encourage anybody to look for the natural things that you can do first, the things that you can control. Do those things. And there are going to be some times when you do need some type of medication, and that's understandable. But if it's something that you can control, something that you can do, by all means, like do it. Start researching stuff. Go on YouTube, have so much information. What is it? Chat GPT, whatever. Go, so much information where you can research and find these natural things that you can do versus always putting medication in your body. I'm all about the natural healing first. So the physical is very important. Why? Because that's the first thing that people see. When they see you, they see your physical. And let me tell you, they're gonna comment on it. They're gonna say something about it, whether they should or not. So, do whatever it is that you have to do for your physical, whatever that means. If you want to dress up, if you want to have a full face of makeup every day, if you want to have a lace front, whatever it is that you want to do, that make you feel good about yourself, then do that. Now, the emotional scars when it comes to survival, this one can really take a toll on you because a lot of times people are not in your head, right? You can be thinking all kind of thoughts in your head, especially when you look at yourself. You can have the fear of recurrence. That's one of the things that a lot of cancer survivors and thrivers who go through treatment, that's always on the back in the back of your mind, like, oh my God, this thing could come back and I gotta go through this all over again. Like the fear and the anxiety, sometimes it sets in and it could be louder than your hope. It could be so much louder. When the treatment ends, a lot of times when you're in treatment, I've said this many of times, I felt like I was in a tunnel, like I was in a tunnel and I didn't see anything outside of that tunnel. I was so focused on, the treatment and getting to the other side of the treatment. And then when I was done and the doctors decided, okay, you passed your 5 years, now you can go back to your general doctor, and you just was left out there feeling like you were by yourself. Like, oh, I'm out here to do this by myself. But going through a cancer treatment, you are never alone. There's so many survivors out here, so many support groups out here, so many individuals are just waiting to just empower you, to love on you. So don't ever think that you're by yourself. You just have to find your tribe. Once you find your tribe, then if you're going through something, you can call them at 3 a.m. in the morning and they're there. Because you can't open up and tell everybody what you're going through because everybody's not going to understand. So you have to find your tribe, find those who support you, who love you genuinely, who's not judging you, who's not going to tell you, oh, soak it up. You done with treatment. You should be okay. Your hair grew back. No, you need somebody that's going to be real with you, but who's going to do it in love. So, and that's not everybody that you encounter. So find your tribe and let them pour into you, even after the cancer diagnosis, because that's when you really are going to need it the most, is when you're done. And if you're going through and you need some type of help, don't hesitate to get a therapist, talk to a counselor, something. You should not have to be dragging all of this around because guess what? That's stress on the body. And guess what stress on the body does? Stress kills. Stress is a silent killer. And I believe that stress caused my diagnosis because at the time I was stressed, my immune system was compromised, and that allowed the cancer to manifest. And everybody have cancer cells in their bodies anyway, but what wakes it up? So something woke it up. I was depressed, and the cancer had a chance to say, oh, okay, let's go. Her defenses are down, and there you go. So if you feeling overwhelmed, I feel like, oh, I can't talk to anybody else, then go and talk to a therapist. Let it all out. A lot of times when we're done with treatment, we walk away with PTSD. Yeah, you do. You walk away with PTSD. Now, it may not be a long-term PTSD, but you do walk away with it. You walk away a lot of times with some type of long-term mental health impact on your life because of the cancer diagnosis. It's a traumatic situation. It's something traumatic that happens in your life. And it's not like, oh, I'm done with treatment, so I'm done. No. No. Once you have a cancer diagnosis, it's just a part of your life for the rest of your life. Now, does it have to sit always in the forefront of your life? No. You can find a way to get on with your life. As they say, find your new normal after you're done with treatment and cancer is in the background. You can find a way. There's going to be some residue as it relates to cancer, but the residue does not have to overpower you. So get into therapy, get into support groups, practice mindfulness, stay in the present. You're done with treatment. You don't have to go back there feeling all depressed. Oh, no, you conquered that. Learn how to give yourself grace. Learn how to have self-compassion when it comes to you. Another scar is the spiritual scar. And the spiritual scar is going to take you, if you thought you had a relationship with God, think again. Because once you go through this cancer diagnosis, you're going to be questioning God, like, what? What is happening here? You see what I'm going through? Like, why haven't you healed me? Like, why do I have to go through the cancer treatment? Can you just heal me before I go through the cancer treatment? Like, you have that power to do that. Why do I have to go through this horrible situation that's going to have this devastating impact on my body and leave me with these lingering residues and scars when you could just take it all away? He didn't take it away from his own son. His own son had to go through it. So why not you? So the effects on your spirituality will be tested. And if you're smart, you're going to grow in your spirituality. The things that you're going to go through, you're going to come to an understanding of why you had to go through it. You have to remember how to surrender, because this is nothing that you can do on your own. You can't. So you have to find yourself surrendering. Say, okay, God, here you go. Whatever it is that you want to do with this, how can I glorify you in my body with this disease here? Like, what do you want me to do? So you have to find ways to have peace through your adversity, and don't let it just overtake you. Listen to people's testimonies. A testimony is there for a reason. It's there to give other people hope, to let them know about the goodness of God and what He has already done. And why, if He did it for me, why He can't do it for you. And that's why I encourage people to share their testimonies, because somebody else needs to hear it. Somebody else needs to hear that you was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, an aggressive form of breast cancer. And they had to remove 16 lymph nodes, and you had to go through 16 rounds of chemo, and you're still here. Somebody needs to know that, because somebody just got that diagnosis and they don't know what they're going to do. They're feeling hopeless. They're feeling like their life has no meaning at this time. So somebody needs to hear your story. So, I feel like you have to get to a point to when you're able to share, because some people may not be there yet. So I don't force you to share. I'm not going to rush you to share, but share. Even if you share with just one person, you don't have to, start a podcast and tell everybody your business. No, you don't have to. You can testify at church. You can testify at a community event. You can just talk one-on-one to someone who may be diagnosed and may need some encouragement. You don't necessarily have to take on the advocate role, the ambassador role, but you can definitely do it one-on-one with somebody, because somebody did it for me. And I remember calling someone at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, like, girl, this is what's happening, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, girl, that's normal. Yeah, I went through that. That's what happens when you're doing chemo. Yeah, so it's not out of the ordinary. Like, find you someone who has went through it and they're still here and they're positive about their experience, but they're going to give you the real, the raw, but you're going to walk away feeling empowered, like, yeah, I can do this too. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a relationship with God, if you don't have some sort of faith in something, that I don't even know how you're going to make it. Like, I could not have made it. And maybe that's because my foundation was always there. But I just took it to a new level, because then I knew, okay, God hears me, He sees me, He's listening to me, and your relationship just goes to a whole different level. So it could definitely have an impact on your spiritual relationship. Some people walk away with relationship. You have scars with your relationships because sometimes relationship changes when you go through a cancer diagnosis. Sometimes they don't stay the same. Everybody can't sit and process what you go through. Some people can't stomach it. Some people feel like, ooh, if I'm around this person, I may get sick. So you know what? I'm just gonna keep my distance. I may call them every now and then, but I don't want to be around all this sickness. I don't want to look at this person sick. I want to just remember this person, how they were. And when they're done with treatment and they're back to their normal self, then I'll show up. And that's okay. And that's fine because that person needs some positive energy around them anyway. And if you can't handle it and you can't stomach it, then there's no shame on you. But if you're going through a cancer diagnosis, you need to make sure that you're having conversations with your family members, with your friends, your close friends, your partners, and because they walk away with scars too, and it may not be scars that you can see, but they're scarred, traumatic because somebody they love, they see going through this traumatic situation. So it could definitely take a toll on them, any personal connections that you have. So sometimes you may have to put relationships on the back burner until you are done with your treatment, until you feel whole again. And then maybe you can reconnect with them afterwards. Maybe you may never reconnect. But you need to find a way for those relationships that are important to you, find a way to rebuild those relationships after treatment. Say, hey, girl, I need some time. I need some time to just pour into me. And, when I'm done, I'll surface. And if they love you and they understand, they'll be like, okay, girl, I'll be here, just whatever you need. But it's all about communication, communicating to them what you need, what you don't need, your boundaries. Because some people will just act like you don't have any boundaries. You tell them, oh, I'm just going to rest. I don't want to be bothered. Next thing you know, they knocking on your door. They got food, this and that. They come in, tell me, I'm going to clean and I'm going to do this and that. You're like, I didn't even invite you over here. Why are you here? Just be respectful of people's boundaries. Be respectful of their emotional health. Ask them where they are. How are you really feeling today? Because some people give you the answer, oh girl, I'm doing good, I'm blessed and highly favored. Yeah, okay. And how are you really doing? Like what's going on? And then listen. Don't listen to respond, but listen. Don't listen and then you throwing in your own, oh girl, yeah, I'm going through this too, girl. I know how you feel. No, you don't know. If you don't have a cancer diagnosis, you don't know. So allow them to get their feelings out. Listen, be an active listener and learn how to rebuild those relationships. But you don't have to be forced to do it while you're going through. If you need a break, then take a break. But just know that you will walk away with some relationship scars because some people may not be able to handle what you're going through. And it's okay. It's totally okay. You have to learn how to transform the diagnosis, right? Learn how to rebuild yourself. Find your strength. Some people find their purpose through their cancer diagnosis. Put life into perspective after your cancer diagnosis. Try to, and when you're going through your cancer diagnosis, don't stop dreaming, don't stop hoping, don't stop planning. Do all of those things. Do all of those things. Because sometimes those are the only things that keep you going. Take this opportunity to find a way to rebuild yourself so that when you walk away from this diagnosis, you're able to walk away stronger. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially. Don't allow the residue to overtake you, but use the residue as a symbol of strength rather than just pain. If you're able to take a class while you're going through your treatment to take your mind off of what you're going through, do that. Like something you always wanted to take, you know, do that to keep your mind off of it. Share your story of resilience with someone else. Don't stop living. Don't stop supporting other people who are going through. A lot of times when the cancer treatment is over, people think you're okay. So they stop checking on you. They stop asking how you're doing. It all stops. And that is really the time that you need someone. Think about, if you're listening to the show now, and if you are going to be kind and rewind, and you have had a cancer diagnosis or any type of diagnosis, think about the scar that it left on your life. And think about the residue that you carry and how you can get past that residue. How you can feel renewed and even going through a diagnosis like this. And don't forget to remember how resilient you are and how embracing the new you and even the scars that the diagnosis left. Continue to encourage yourself, sharing, again, share your story, even if it's with just one person. And listen to other people who have stories of healing, hope. In case you need strength again, sometimes you have to go back and revisit. Don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. Take your time to heal. It's in your timing. And you don't have to be on someone else's timetable. Remember, your journey that you're going through is going to be a testimony for someone else who may be going through it as well. Don't allow the grief of your diagnosis to overtake you. You could still be sexy. You could get your sexy back. It's things that you can do to still feel whole again. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. Don't blame yourself for your diagnosis. So a lot of times it was something that we could not control. And if God wanted you not to have it, then he wouldn't allow it. Create space for grace in your life. Life is hard enough. When you add a diagnosis on top of it, oh, baby, it could be overwhelming. But it doesn't have to wipe you out. You can begin again. You just have to keep pouring into yourself. Keep telling yourself, I can do this. I'm strong. I'm resilient. This diagnosis is not all of me. Don't allow it to make you feel guilty. Because a lot of times I feel guilty when another breast cancer survivor passes. I'm like, oh, Jesus, like that could have been me. And then you start feeling guilty, like, oh, why am I still here? Like, what am I doing different? You ain't doing it. You ain't doing nothing different because it really doesn't have anything to do with you. A lot of times it has nothing to do with you. This is all a part of God's plan, whatever it is that he has for our life. You have to remember, faith can be a powerful tool for healing, but you have to surrender to it. And remember, cancer doesn't just change that one person. It changes your whole entire, whoever's in your immediate tribe, remember that they are suffering just as well. You're never by yourself. Learn how to reclaim your power. You can become stronger, more compassionate, more courageous. Don't allow the diagnosis to be all of who you are. Don't allow it to define you. All right, you guys, that's all I have for. That's all I have. Just remember the warrior in you, right? Stay strong, stay resilient. And remember, warriors, in the word warrior is war. So in order for you to be called a warrior, you have to go through a war. You have to go through a battle. You have to come face to face with your adversary and win. And if you're still here after that diagnosis, then you've won. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate yourself. And don't give up. I want to highlight my sponsor, Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay. She is catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. You can go to her website at marykay.com/GDOTSON. Make sure you tell her that Warriors Talk sent you. And Warriors Talk is always looking for individuals who want to share their journey. You just have to email me or inbox me and let me know that you are ready to share so that you can come on and inspire someone else. Don't forget about the National Breast Cancer Coalition Project Lead Institute. Go to stopbreastcancer.org. Also for the National Leadership Summit as well. I will leave you guys with these words of wisdom. Remember to take time to reflect, to heal, and keep moving forward. Join me next Monday right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.